Hey everyone, it's Chase Elleby and Jared Easter at Williams Elleby, and today we're going to talk to you about workplace injuries due to the increased demand of the holiday season. So with most all workplace injuries, just kind of as a starter, you're going to have a workers' comp claim. This video, we're not really going to talk much about workers' comp. We've got other videos that you can search on our page that we talk about workers' comp specific issues, but today we're going to focus more on workplace injuries that are going to be third-party claims. So kind of common things that you see while on the job where you're injured, right? So the first thing that I think of, Jared, when we talk about workplace injuries, especially with the busy holiday season, are going to be car wrecks. Car wrecks happen all the time. People always ask, what kind of cases do you handle the most? And it's typically car wrecks because people drive everywhere and car wrecks happen all the time. So the first thing I think of when it comes to car wrecks and working or in the working environment are delivery drivers.
Delivery drivers are everywhere this time of year.
Yep, Amazon drivers, FedEx drivers. The one thing that kind of gets me the most is when you're driving down the road and the Amazon or FedEx driver just stops in the road, puts their flashers on and runs out. They don't pull in the driveway, make their delivery and come back. Now, you just have to be careful as a delivery driver to know that a lot of drivers on the road aren't paying attention, right? They're not going to pay attention to seeing you stopping, slowing down, and stopping in the middle of the road. But let's say in that situation as a delivery driver, you slow down, you stop, you get hit, you've got a claim, right? You've got a third-party claim against the driver that hit you. You might also have a workers' comp claim because you're on the job when that injury occurred. So that's one thing. Another thing, as far as car accidents are concerned, are Uber drivers. Uber drivers are picking up folks, taking them everywhere this holiday season. Don't drink and drive. We have plenty of videos on that as well. And cab drivers, if they get in a wreck or someone causes a wreck while they're driving, they're on the job and they are injured. So again, you possibly have a workers' comp claim. Now with Uber drivers, not so much because I don't want to get into the whole employee versus independent contractor and things like that. But just know that even if you're on the job, even if you have potential workers' comp and you get in a wreck, you always have a claim. You almost always have a claim against the third party that caused that wreck. So, Jared, what's another sort of busy holiday season injury that comes to mind?
So obviously this time of year, everybody's ordering packages, having things delivered from all across the country, and that means warehouses are extra busy this time of year. And with the increase in packages and things coming out of those warehouses, it can lead to injuries while you're on the job there. Some of the common ones we see are forklift injuries. You're on the job, you're in a busy warehouse trying to get things off a truck and moved, and the next thing you know, somebody on a forklift has backed into you, ran over you. Who knows what happens. But a lot of times the forklift drivers could be there as independent contractors or working for another company, a staffing agency. Usually the company you might be working for or the company you are working for is just leasing space in the warehouse, or there are other companies using the warehouse at the same time. So in those situations, if you are injured by a forklift, more often than not, it could be someone working for another company, so that wouldn't be necessarily the comp claim against them. It would be a third-party claim where you could sue them for recovery. Right,
and you bring up a good point. The reason that there's a distinction is because if you're injured on the job by, say, another employee that works for the same employer as you do, you only have a comp claim. You don't have a third-party claim against a different party. So we see it often in warehouses, like Jared was saying, that there's multiple entities that employ different folks. So if you get hit by somebody driving a forklift and they work for a different company, not only do you have the workers' comp claim, but you may also have a third-party claim against that employee from a different employer. So that's another thing to be on the lookout for.
Yep, and also along the same lines, working in warehouses where there's packing and shipping going on, there's a lot of machinery, a lot of moving parts, a lot of things that help contribute to getting the items packaged and out the door. And sometimes those machines can go wrong. You can get caught in the machine can malfunction and cause some sort of an injury, during the rush. It's important to look into those and figure out, was it just a mistake on your part, which in that case would be a workers' comp claim. However, sometimes those machines do have problems, either a defective design or they're just broken and malfunction, which can cause an injury. And in those cases, you might be able to bring a claim against the manufacturer of the machine to recover, and that again would be a third-party claim that would provide compensation up and beyond just the workers' comp claim.
Yeah, that's right. That's typically referred to as like a products liability case, right? Like a products liability case against a manufacturer of, say, like a carpet machine that malfunctions improperly, and you could bring a claim against them. You could bring a claim against an employee for a different company for, pushing the button that says, roll up the carpet when somebody's standing right there. That's not necessarily a products liability case because the machine's acting as intended or as it's supposed to act, but it's just negligence on the part of the employee for another company who may be responsible for those injuries. So yeah, that's another thing. And I also too think of like with shipping and packaging and things like that, like tractor trailer wrecks in parking lots or in storage facilities when they're backing in, to unload the trailer and the tractor. We've had cases where truck drivers have been injured in that regard, and it's an injury while they're on the job because they're making a delivery, not necessarily in the, the tractor or the trailer at the time, but they're making a delivery, and it's kind of a quasi premises type general negligence claim. So another thing I think of, at least when we think of, warehouse injuries and things like that. So, all right, so third thing that we're going to hit on as far as injuries during the busy holiday season are going to be slip and fall cases, right? We were talking about delivery drivers earlier. Well, they have to drive to the delivery, but when they get there, they get out of the car, they walk up the driveway or walk down the sidewalk, go up some stairs and things like that to make their delivery. And we've done a video, I think multiple videos actually, on premises liability dealing with invitees, licensees, and trespassers and things like that. And really that just talks about the status of the person on your property and what duty you owe to that person. But generally speaking, if someone's making a delivery, at a minimum, they're going to be a licensee and almost always an invitee on the property. So you owe some duty to keep that property safe, right? So if somebody's making a delivery and they're walking up your stairs and they step on a brick that's loose, that you knew was loose, and they fall and get hurt, there's a potential third-party claim against the homeowner or the business or wherever they're delivering for allowing a hazardous condition to stay on their property. And at the same time, if they're making the delivery for that company, they'll have a workers' comp claim as well. So, anything you want to add to that?
Joel and I did a whole video on it, I think last week maybe, that talks a lot about ice and slip and falls, and it's in the context of visiting other places, but it is very informative as far as the law for invitee versus licensee regarding falls on other people's property.
Yeah. So I think that kind of hits sort of the major things, at least that I think of when you're dealing with workplace injuries in the busy holiday season. Again, we're not talking about workers' comp claims or anything like that, because I think most of the time, again, if you've been injured on the job, there's a highly great possibility, I should say, that you would have a workers' comp claim, but we're also kind of examining what sort of third-party claims there might be. So again, please search for our other videos on some of these topics that we sort of brushed over, because there's a lot of good information out there. You can always go to our website as well at www.gatrialattorney.com. We've got a lot of good blogs on our website with a lot of good information. And as always, please like our videos, subscribe, comment in the little area below. We'll be happy to answer any questions y'all may have. And Jared and I will actually be seeing you next week as well. So stay tuned.